Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DeCharis, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown Bethpage, Long Island, New York, for another amazing episode of How to Win at Business. And tonight, if you are watching live, give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember why we do that, but it's become a habit. It's become a habit, and you know what habits can do to you if they're bad habits or good habits. And right now, the government is showing some of their bad habits, and their habits are to uh, throw money in the wrong places, if that makes sense. I've had clients that went out and refinanced their houses to pay off credit card debt, only to run up more credit card debt and then refinance their house again to pay off their credit card debt, to do the same thing over and over again. Now, I've heard that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So now we've had experience, plenty of experience with the government trying to beef up the IRS and their collection efforts, and and the way that they do that is they wreak havoc on small businesses. They audit us. They use let's say unfair tactics to try to collect money from us. Basically, they make it almost impossible to run a profitable small business. And what they've done with this new law is going to be financial chaos for tens, not millions, but I think tens of millions of business owners. And tonight, what I want to do is talk about what we could expect. How are they going to do this? How are they going to go after us? What can we expect, and how can we protect ourselves against an army of 87,000 new IRS agents? I don't even know if there's 87,000 people that want to work for the IRS, because I'm hearing that we got a real problem with people aren't going back to work. There's a shortage of truck drivers. There's a shortage of everything. I mean, you could get $15 an hour for being a cashier. Now, not that there's anything wrong with being a cashier, but that's usually like the, uh, low person on the totem pole as far as, commanding a salary, let's say. So, you know, we're in trouble from a lot of different fronts, and it wasn't too long ago that the only thing we had to worry about was really, how do we survive the pandemic? How do we get through this insanity of this virus and being shut in for all this time? And little by slowly, we've been able to start going out, at least where I am, going out in public. Where I live, Nassau County, New York, people don't even wear masks here. I mean, once in a while, I see somebody with a mask. And I go to the gym, I go to stores. Also, in the stores, I see that the shelves, are getting slim. And now I'm hearing more and more about this shrinkflation. That's when, you buy a box of cereal for $8, and now it's still $8, but it's like 80% of what it was. So they take away 20% of what they were selling you before for the same price. Also, I've heard of some what they call NLP, neuro linguistic programming tricks, uh, or you can call it advertising, but your eyes play tricks on you with certain things. So they had, and this is, I heard this, I believe it. If it's not true, that's okay, but it it paints the same picture. And it used to be you buy a 64-ounce bottle of detergent. Okay. Now they make it 46 ounces. So you see the 6 and the 4, but now it's only 46 ounces, but you're paying the same exact price. So that's another thing. There's serious problems with the supply chain. There's all kinds of products uh, still sitting at the shipping yards because there's not enough people to unload the stuff. I mean, this is crazy. And the government stepped up and gave us all of this money, but not without strings. Not without strings, folks. So if you're watching live, I'd appreciate it if you can give me some comments here because I'm going to be talking about this stuff for a long time because what's going on right now is it's a change in the structure of everything. It seems it's just like the pandemic basically brought to light a lot of the structural flaws that we've always had with bureaucracies, the IRS, state and local governments, because they just you know business owners know how to pivot. Okay, government doesn't know how to pivot. They don't know how to, I mean, they're just slow to react. I mean, it's frightening. It's frightening. So what the pandemic did was, it chased a lot of people home. They couldn't do their jobs. Uh, the IRS couldn't do their job to begin with. They couldn't do their job to begin with. Now you throw this on top of the fire, and you incorporate, the post office and all of their inadequacies, and the fact that you can't even rely on them to deliver a letter to the IRS, let alone getting the IRS to open a letter. Uh, the mysterious part of all this is that the collection part of the system hasn't stopped. But I know my aunt is still waiting for her refund. I have another client waiting for $17,000 refund that we applied for in April, and they're still waiting for it. And it says on the internet site that they're processing it, but their money isn't coming. My aunt had to call her congressman to try to see what's going on, and he's got a contact at the IRS. I still haven't heard that she's going to get her refund, or she's getting her refund. They just said we can't tell you when. This is insanity, folks. And so my job is to basically utilize my experience in working for over 30 years with the government on behalf of my clients to try to keep them uh, out of trouble, in compliance, keep the IRS happy. And when I say that, I mean give them all the forms that they want when they want them, pay what's due when it's due, and, and and that's it. That's the name of the game. But they've changed the rules, folks. They've changed the rules on a lot of different levels. What you have to keep in mind is the speed of the change in technology. Okay, because a lot of what's going on has to do with the simple fact that they're connecting the dots. They're connecting all the different agencies that could never talk together. I believe it started with the post office. So all of a sudden, uh, you change your address at the post office, the IRS knew about it. Well, how did they know? The post office must have told the I. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, other than the fact that it's the government. Uh, it it just doesn't seem right, if that makes a sense. I mean, you've lost a level of privacy, which is what my assistant Elizabeth talked about. We give up our rights to privacy every day. Whenever you sign into Facebook, you're basically telling them that they can do whatever they want with your information. This is a whole nother uh, story that has nothing to do with the IRS hiring 87,000 employees to be gentle with that. But the speed of the technology linking systems together. Now, if you can imagine this, the you set up a corporation at the Secretary of State level. Okay, I live in New York. I have a corporation that I registered in New York. And then in order to do business, to open up a bank account, I had to get a federal tax ID number. That's the only way you can open a bank account and actually do business in your state. Now, what was always strange to me was that the IRS, as far as I know, was not linked to the state. Now, if you set up a corporation, an entity through the state, it's public record. So I guess the IRS always had the ability to go in there and manually match up active corporations uh, with tax ID numbers. That wasn't going to do anything for them. Okay, because a lot of those corporations might be inactive. Okay, they might not be doing business. They might not have a bank account. The IRS did not have that information. Well, guess what, folks? Now they do. Now they will. Okay, because part of the law, take a step back. One of the proposals was to have access to every business's bank transactions. And I think the number was over $600. So if you had a business bank account and did any transactions over $600, the IRS wanted to know about it. Well, the banks had a serious problem with that. And then I think they said 10,000 banks again did what they do. They lobbied, they called their congressmen, their senators. But what they did agree to is to give the IRS a list of all of the business bank accounts that are in existence. Why is this important? Because now the IRS can cross reference a business that has a bank account and activity and see if they filed a tax return. They could never do that before. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, they're going to catch a lot of people that just never filed returns. They're also going to catch a lot of people that are in dire financial straits. These, so if you think about it, the people that don't file, the people that don't pay their taxes, usually have a good reason for not paying. Okay, they probably most of them don't have the money. That's the truth. Now, I'm not saying that it's right that they don't file. They should file. They should follow the rules that are so damn complicated that you need a PhD in taxation to understand what the heck the rules are. Okay, you cannot start and run a business without the proper guidance. It's just impossible. Uh, There is, they call it, I just heard it wasn't a podcast, it was actually a radio show, and Steve Forbes, from Forbes Media, called it the regulatory state. He said what the government is doing now is they're controlling the populations through regulation. Uh, I'm not political. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm for businesses, and I know this for a fact that the IRS's plans are going to backfire. They're not going to collect more money. They're going to collect less money. Okay. They're going to force more people to try to go underground fruitlessly, because if you ever heard of Eric Snowden, you'll know that there is no being underground. What our strategy is at Bedrock is to hide in plain sight. Let's show them how to do business. Let's open up a corporation. Let's use a bank account and credit cards. Let's report all of our income and expenses. Okay. And if we can't pay our taxes because we made some money, not enough, we'll let you know. And we'll work out an installment agreement or an offer in compromise according to the laws that are on the books already. Okay. There's no need to go out and hire 80,000 plus collection agents, because that's really what they are. Okay. And I'm sure that you're going to find a lot of people that are bad people that are cheating the system that should be called to task. But you're also going to be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If you ever heard that term, I never really knew what that meant, but you're going to hurt the people that could least afford it. Uh, History has proven this time and time again. That's why I can't believe that. I was around at a time, I think it was about 15, 20 years ago, probably more like 15 or 16, when the IRS hired about 20,000 new people. And I said it was going to be bad, and it was. It was bad for a long time. But the thing is that the IRS never replaced those people. They let them retire. They let uh, their workforce go back down to what it is. Uh, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, good or bad. I don't know. But they've made do with what they had. Now all of a sudden, uh, they want to unleash the Kraken on U.S. based businesses. And I don't know what the solution is. I didn't spend the $7 trillion that they want to collect, but I do know that what they're doing is going to hurt a lot of people. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. If you want to learn more about what we do at Bedrock, if anything I said resonates with you, you can go to timewithjoe.com. I love talking about business, how to fly under the radar in plain sight. And if you're free on Fridays, we have mastermindwithjoe.com, where we play Jeopardy. We have fun, we learn, we network, and we support each other. So God bless. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Over and out. And I will see you again for another amazing episode of How to Win at Business.